All right, welcome to February 8th, 2025. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation, an exercise that I do each and every day, pardon me, to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone. I also use the time to think about the last 24 hours, how I did with the challenges and the opportunities that I met. I go over the 8 objectives of my creed. I plan for the coming day, and including readying myself for death, and prepare, and then I get started in earnest. First, a few things. First, a welcome to new subscribers. So many of you every day. It's good to have you here. If you're here for the Japan content, this is the disclaimer part. Oh no, disclaimer comes next. I've got it all laid out here in notes. Um, I usually never did this welcome and disclaimer because I didn't have a lot of subscriber growth, and so everybody knew. But for you, those of you who are new to my channel, and if you've come here for the Japan content, I'm in Japan, but these videos, these Good Life meditation videos, are not about Japan, except for the fact that I talk about the fact that I'm living in Japan. So just to let you know, this is a personal video that I happen to do publicly, standing on a soapbox, publicly talking about my life. The disclaimer part is that I talk about sensitive, what is to some people sensitive subjects in this video that may be uncomfortable for some people. So personal things. So if you're not interested in my personal life, and you're not interested in hearing about controversial subjects like death, then maybe this isn't the right video for you. And you can always tell these videos because they always have the same title. It starts with the good life. It begins with a little sunshine in the title. So maybe this isn't the right one. With that disclaimer aside, and a big thank you to my Patreon supporters, my YouTube members, and those of you who watch my video. I really do appreciate your support. Usually I do this at a convenience store, and I have a can of coffee, which my supporters buy me, and I appreciate that can of coffee. Thank you. I'm not doing that today. I'm going to meet with a friend of mine from America in about half an hour. I got to keep an eye on the time. So here we go. I can keep an eye on the time here. Yeah, I got half an hour. We're not meet in America. We're gonna meet on WhatsApp. So let's talk about the last 24 hours. If you follow these videos, you know that this week was a rough one for me. Beginning at the start of the week, really for about 4 days in a row, as I began to struggle starting the week with what I would call finding my footing in this new life. Now, what I haven't said to date is that didn't surprise me because I've changed life circumstance so many times, and this has happened. This experience has been attendant to that in one form or another every time. Because Yumiko and I, about every 2 years, we up and move. And just that moving, even if we stay in the same paradigm, like Southern California, same careers, we just move to a new community, it upsets the routine. Even if, for example, when we were living in Irvine and we were living in the Center Point Apartments in our beautiful apartment complex, literally the best place we've ever lived, hands down, Center Point Apartments in Irvine, California. I mean, it's like so far above the scale of any place I've ever lived. Let me just take a digress for just a moment. When we moved back to America, we chose to live in Irvine. And I chose Irvine because Southern California is my home. I knew that Orange County, California was going to be a welcoming place for my mixed race daughter, my Japanese wife, and my vagabond self. It's full of people from elsewhere. So we knew that would be the case. 2, Irvine has it was, at least when we moved there, the safest big city in the United States in terms of crime, etc. So a safe place to live. 3, it had one of the best school systems in California, and notoriously good, famously good English as a second language program for people like my daughter who are coming in from abroad, like just exactly like that. Teenage kids coming from somewhere in high school, coming from somewhere else, getting thrown into the school system. The Irvine School District was custom built for that because it has so many people coming in from Asia in particular, China, South Korea, Japan, elsewhere, that they're, like the families they've been relocated to the Southern California office. They choose Orange County, they choose Irvine, and suddenly the school district has these kids that show up every year that, learn their English as their second language. So they have this great system set up. They have that. And so I wanted her landing in America to be as soft as possible, our daughter. So within that paradigm, we started living in what the Irvine Company, it's a long history. I could spend 2 hours talking about the Irvine Company alone. Anyway, they've got a whole series of these just magnificent apartment communities, and they have homes too, etc., all throughout. Anyway, the first year they lived there, they built this Center Point place over by the Irvine Spectrum, which is just this incredible shopping mall. And when we attended the grand opening, we were living in another Irvine Company property at the time, and we dreamed of living there. And when our lease expired at the other one, we got a unit at the Spectrum, at the Center Point. And then we stayed there. Then we were done. Stayed in there for the remainder of our time until Emily moved out. And what we did was every year when our lease expired, we would just move units within within Center Point. Nothing beat our fourth floor unit, the one we had when we first moved there. That was really great. But anyway, I'm totally digressing. The point is, even when we were within Center Point and we would change within units within the same damn complex, my life would hit a reset button. Not to mention when we would change we did in the end of our time in America, we did change cities. We moved from Irvine after Emily moved out and we were free of the Irvine School District. Yumiko and I moved out to Menifee for a while, which is out in the desert, and then we moved back to Huntington Beach and finished our tenure in the United States in Huntington Beach. And those two. But every time I've done this, it's like being carefully balancing, and you've got everything balanced, and then someone comes and pushes you, you stumble, right? And so I knew that would happen. And coming back to Japan, I was waiting for this to happen. Well, waiting, but then I forgot. And then when it happened, it was a big push. I mean, really knocked me over. And that happened last week. And I attributed it to several things. I thought, oh, I miss my career. Oh, and I could be, these are true. Oh, I miss my career. And then I thought, oh, I miss America. And then I thought, I miss America. And then I thought, oh, I miss being involved. Being engaged, being a professional, an IT professional, all that kind of stuff. And it is all three of those. But then what I also discovered at the end was now a fourth item, which I really haven't talked about yet, which is I wasn't abiding my nature. And it dawned on me when I got thanks to some of you, it dawned on me through a comment someone left. I think it was yesterday in one of my videos. And I'm not saying your comment, if you see this, that your comment was off base. Your comment just described a different human being. You commented, I can't remember who it was, that what I needed to do was to take naps. Now, I do like taking naps. When I first got here, I found that taking naps were kind of refreshing because I have this sleep problem right now. It's been going on for a couple of years. I think it's sleep apnea. The doctors in America think it's sleep apnea. That's a whole other subject. That's irrelevant. I don't want to get on that tangent. But the person said, you need to learn, what the point that the person was making was I needed to embrace the relaxed lifestyle. Take naps, enjoy taking time off, don't rush. As pleasant as that is, and like I said, I'm not saying that isn't correct for some people. That is the classic view of retirement, right? I mean, that's why they call it the biggest retirement community in Southern California. It's called Leisure World, right? I mean, it's supposed to be, you wake up, sleep in at night, have a leisurely breakfast at 10 a.m. or whatever it is, go play golf. There really is a leisure world in Southern California, in Irvine there, not in Irvine, just south of Irvine. It's called It's called Laguna Woods now. They changed the name of it. They incorporated it into a city. They literally have golf cart lanes all over the place. Anyway, and I realized when I read that comment, thank you for the person who left that comment, I go, that ain't me. I don't rest. Except for these naps that I have to take now just to recharge my system. That's not me. And it didn't dawn on me at the time, and I responded with my typical, thank you very much for your feedback, and I appreciate it. And I guess because I do appreciate the feedback. I'm not saying that was disingenuous on my part, but at the back of my mind, I was thinking, you've just described the person who left that comment, described a human being that isn't me, because I don't rest. I mean, the fact that I'm sitting on the sofa right now, this is perishable. I mean, I don't rest. It's just the way I am. So I put that in the back of my mind. Then something happened yesterday that opened my eyes. And she's doing fine, but Yumiko got a cold. So she rested all day. She took the day off, time out, Kurt, taking the day off, and she stayed here and rested all day long. It's just a cold. I took her to the doctor, and they confirmed that, and they gave her some medicine, and she's going to be fine. So basically that meant that I was left on my own to take care of everything yesterday, and there was a lot that needed to be taken care of. I needed to walk the dogs 3 times. I needed to take care of her father's lunch and his dinner, and my wife's lunch and dinner, and my own lunch and dinner. And I needed to meet for the old appliance recycling team at the new house that we bought, the new old house that we bought. So that, and I had all the paperwork and the payment and all that kind of stuff to take care of that. I needed to go to the dump. I needed to do some shopping, and there was a couple of other things in there that I did as well, all on my own, without anybody to help me, which is an interesting thing given in Japan for a guy that doesn't speak Japanese very well. So what I did was, in the morning I thought, okay, when I realized Yumiko wasn't going to be a part of the picture, I said, Kurt, roll up your sleeves, just do this. You can take care of all that. I mean, I know I can do all this stuff, even with my bad Japanese, because I did it for 11 years, right? I mean, when I lived here before, I always pushed myself. I was very careful back then because Yumiko was so busy raising our daughter. I was very, very careful not to be a burden to my wife. I didn't want to be an extra child for her to care for. So I always, I've never talked about this on YouTube. It's interesting. This is the first time this is coming up. When we lived in Japan before, for the whole 11 years, the last time we were here, I went out of my way to make sure that my wife didn't have to take care of me. Now, she did, because that's her nature. She's a good and caring in person. And if she's taking care of, she's making dinner for Emily and her, she's going to make dinner for me. And she does make dinner for me. And we have things that we divide up. But you get the idea, right? I never was one to say, well, Yumiko's got it covered because she's Japanese. But I did start doing that when I came back this time. I'm not sure why I know why I did it, because I know why I did it. Because in my mind, I put myself into a situation finishing America, that I was checking off check boxes of my big life responsibilities, because I took care of it. I led everything in America for the last what has it been, 11 years. And I was like, okay, this is done, 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 this is done. I got everything set up, right? I mean, I for the most part, I earned and set aside and managed all of our retirement funds. And I mean, we did it together. I mean, I'm the breadwinner all these years, but we were a team, right? Miko mostly took care of the family, and I took care of the money. So in my mind, it was a huge, huge thing that I earned and put in place together with her, but I earned and put in place the apparatus of our retirement, of our home purchase, of our car purchase, of Emily's college, all that stuff. And when all that stuff was done, something kind of switched to me, like, I've done my part. That's not how I saw it, but I guess I did see it that way. When I came to Japan, I had this idea, because my wife stepped in to fill the vacuum of taking care of everything here. And I kind of arrived on the scene like, well, my work here is done. It's a wrong attitude, Kurt. One, it's wrong because it isn't true. It wasn't me that did all of that stuff. It was us as a team, right? So we did that together. So that was that was wrong of me. That was me taking a moment of patting myself on the back without taking all the credit when I shouldn't have done so. So that was wrong. I see that now. It was unintentional. It was unintentionally me forgetting about my wife's contribution to all of that. I'm a little ashamed of that. The second thing was the fact that we don't have a child to care for anymore, and Yumiko had gone 6 months ahead and had done everything, and she had the whole apparatus of this. It's like a restaurant that's well underway. It's like arriving in Japan on December 12th, 2024. It was like arriving into a well-run restaurant. Yumiko had been here half a year before, had set everything up, bought us a car, got us a place to live, furnished the place, had her family connections all set up. I just was like a diner. I walked in and was like, okay, where would you like to sit, sir? Here's your menu. I'll sit over there. I got a window seat. And my wife's taking care of everything. Now, this is pretty nice. For the first 2 weeks, it was like, this is great. Oh, go more wine? All right. This is convenience. Yeah, can I get a beer? That's how I was living for 2 months. For 2 weeks, it was paradise. After about 2 weeks, I started going, wait a minute. This isn't quite what this is. You get tired, even a good restaurant, you get tired of sitting there being served, right? After about 4 weeks, going into about 6 weeks, I'm starting to think, wow, I miss being useful. Oh, I miss my career. See where that came from, right? Now I know why I was thinking I missed my career. And then I was thinking, oh, maybe it's not my career. Maybe it's America that I miss, because in America, I was very needed. And then finally it was, wow, maybe it's being engaged in the fact that I'm old. So I was missing the mark. I was closing in on it every time, right? Bam, 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 bam. And then yesterday, having the full day to myself, responsible for everything, including taking care of my wife, and pulling it all off just fine, even with comedy. I mean, I'll tell you guys a funny anecdote. So when the guys were there with the measurements, now I had to measure the guys, the movers, to take away the old furniture, the old refrigerator and washing machine from the house. When they showed up, I had taken the measurements already for both these items to see how they would fit through, because I was worried they wouldn't fit through the door. And I figured, oh, the refrigerator, if you do it this way, it's not going to fit. But if you do it this way, it's going to fit because it's narrower this way. So I had 26 centimeters. So it's 26 centi. So I had measured it already. And when the guys were, this is an example of me, even though I don't speak Japanese, I'm not afraid to jump in, right? And the guys were struggling. They had gone down the hall with it the wrong way. And I was thinking, well, when they get there, maybe they'll figure it out. They just have to do this, right? And they didn't have a measuring tape. And they had grabbed an old broom and were trying to measure the broom, measure the refrigerator at this angle and then against the door, and lots of inhaling of air. Because Japanese do, when they're, anxious and I could see that they were going to the direction of this thing's not going to fit. I knew it would fit if they would just turn it the other way. So, if my wife had been there, I would have turned to my wife and I would have said, I think they need to turn it the other way. And she wouldn't have said anything because she's not like that. And she would have, they'll figure it out. And then I would have gotten anxious, and I would, because I would think it's not my place to step forward, right? I'm not Japanese. I don't speak Japanese. I can't do this. But without her there, I had the measuring thing on the table right behind me. So when I saw that these guys weren't figuring it out, they probably would have. When they weren't figuring it out, I walked back, grabbed the measure thing, and stepped forward, and I said, "Sumimasen." I said, and I tapped on the refrigerator on the one side. I said, "Kochi no ho, 26 senshi desu ne." And I handed them the measuring thing, and he totally got it. He's like, "Oh, 26 centimeters." And he took the measuring thing and he measured it, and I was great satisfaction. I heard him kind of, so desu ne, 26 senshi desu. And then he took it and he measured the thing, and it was like 30 senshi, the door frame, or 30 senshi. He realized he had 4 centimeters of gap there, and he totally realized, oh, this is totally going to fit. And he had this aha moment, and he and the other guy, little like watching Laurel and Hardy for a while there. Figured it out and got the thing through the door and had a great time. That was significant for me. I had a moment like that when I first moved to Japan the last time. When we first got here, Yumiko was really, really busy with our daughter, and we needed a car. So I said to her, Yumiko, I said, hold my beer. I've got a bicycle. I'm heading out into Shizuoka, and I'm going to go and buy us a new car. And I spent like 2 weeks riding my bicycle all around Shizuoka City, going to every new car dealership in Shizuoka City, walking into those things with my awful Japanese, meeting a salesman or a saleswoman there, and going through all the cars. And I did the research on my own. This is before the internet. I mean, this is before, smartphones, right? No translation devices. And I found and I bought us a damn car. Now, Yumiko had to sign all the paperwork, but I'm the one that picked the car. I did the research, I picked the car, etc. That was the aha moment for me when the last time I lived in Japan, that I realized even though I can't speak Japanese, I can get by if I just decide to and I assert myself. And that was the same thing that happened yesterday with those guys. And I suddenly snapped in my head and I go, Kurt, you don't need anybody here. You can't, I really could get by without Yumiko, even with my poor Japanese, especially now that we're armed with technology that we have right now. A further funny moment was before the guys got there, I went down, just literally down at the end of the street. There's a farmer's house, and in front of his house, he's always got farm produce for sale, and he had he had the most delicious mikan, Japanese tangerines. So I bought a bag of tangerines to give to the guys. So we were done, and we were standing outside. The refrigerator and the washing machine were loaded, and we did the paperwork and they counted the money and everything like that. We were standing there. They were asking me, they were talking to me and questions, and they said, did you buy this house? And I said, yeah. This is all in Japanese. And they said, are you going to reform it? I said, yeah, we're going to remodel it, make it livable. And he says, are you going to live here? I said, yeah, we're going to live here. And then this is the moment that I had this, and this is the thing. We really got lucky with this house because this is a really, really nice area. It's probably the most desirable area to live in Shizuoka City. And they look around, and they were going like, it's called Yada where we live. They were like, Yada really is a nice place. They said 3 times. They said, it's really nice. And then the other guy is like, yeah, it's nice. And I was going, yeah, it's nice. And then I handed them, I said, as they got ready to leave, I handed them the oranges. And I said, and what I wanted to say was, it was like 2:00. And I wanted to say, oyatsu no jikan. Oyatsu means like break time. I said, here's your oyatsu. You guys can go and get a break, get a coffee or something like that. And here's some oranges you're gonna have. I used the wrong word. I handed them the oranges. I said, omiyage desu. Omiyage means souvenir, right? So like, here's a souvenir of your visit to my house to pick up my broken old washing machine and refrigerator. And then I caught myself, omiyage janai, oyatsu. Oyatsu taki ne, moskoshi sanji ne. And they laughed, and then off they went. We had nice bows, and off they went. I waited at the end until they were gone down the street. That opened my eyes. And then I was supercharged at that moment. And I was like, dude, you got this. The trick is it's not that I miss work necessarily, although I do, in a way. I missed being important at work. I was really, really good at what I did at work. And everybody relied on me. I really do think that. I was a good project manager. I was kind of like a dad, right? It was like being a dad all the time, right? People come to you to solve problems and to make sure things are happening, or for reassurance. It's good to be wanted and needed, right? So I guess I don't miss being my job so much as I missed being needed, right? So, but I do miss America, kind of. Yeah, that's true. I definitely. Southern California is just such an amazing place. It's just, I mean, it's really, really hard to convey what it's like. It's like being at a great amusement park where there's roller coasters flashing by, and the barkers harking their things, and young people everywhere, pretty girls in dresses, and young men chasing after them. I mean, that's what I mean by that, pretty girls in dresses and young men chasing after them, is all the people with the dreams and the ambition and smart smart young people. And maybe it's because of Orange County. It's like a heat sink for all these ambitious people of the world, because they converge from the world, and they hit in Orange County, and they're making stuff, and they're realizing dreams, and there's optimism and vibrancy and energy. Man, it's hard to give that up, and that is not what it's like here. This is as good as Shizuoka is. It's a very sleepy place compared to any of that. I don't know if there's any place even in the United States that's quite like that. I mean, maybe Silicon Valley, maybe Manhattan. I'm not sure. But I know that, and I knew when I was living there, because I would hear all these reports from around the United States about how awful things were, and I'm like, man, it's like hearing about people that are having like an awful snowstorm going on in the next town over, right? And it was like, what are they talking about? Sunny skies here. That's what it was like living in Orange County. So I do miss that, because who wouldn't, right? But what I really, at the end of the day, when all was said and done, at the end of the day yesterday, I had taken care of everything. I had done my I had fed Dad and Yumiko. I had taken Yumiko to the doctor. I had handled all the stuff with the recycle guys. I had done 2 hours of cleaning on the house. I'd gone to the dump, and the guys at the dump, I'm getting to know the damn guys at the dump. They're like asking me, because they even asked me today. They said, because Yumiko's only gone with me to the dump once. I've gone there after the first time. I've gone to myself, and I've gotten to know all the guys there, because I've been there like 8 times. I pulled up to the thing, and the guy's he's like, "Where's your wife?" I said, "She's not." I made laugh. I made Yumiko laugh, because I told her what I said. Tsumane, choshi ga warui, and it made Yumiko laugh. I don't know why that's funny, but it made Yumiko laugh. Choshi warui, for my wife. And then I went around, and I went into the burnable area, guys, and they're like, yeah, okay, great, you got more. And when I left, they're like, well, see you tomorrow. Mata ashita. So after all that, and I came home, and I felt great, and it was like 6 p.m. And I was like, this is how I felt at the height of my career, sans this, without the stress. Because I would feel the same way in America when I was working at the end of a hard day. I would come home, and I would just be, man, I mean, just, it's like must you feel like when a wrestler comes off their wrestling match, and they just got the shit beat out of them, excuse my language, but they still feel great. They go into the hall, they're all sweaty and stuff like that. But with my job, add on to that like 40 pounds of stress on your head, right? That's what would kill me. That's what gave me all these, took all the life out of me. So that's how I felt yesterday without the stress. All good. And I realized, so there's nothing to report yesterday that was bad necessarily for anybody, but because that's what I'm usually doing, is going over the tough stuff. There wasn't anything. It was all good yesterday. My note here for the last 24 hours was go, go, go. The lesson learned was that the key to my success in retirement is to never rest. Or if I do rest, only rest in order to recharge my batteries, but to always have something going, because I am not a person to take it easy. I am not a person to let anyone else, drive me around, so to speak, right? I need to be the one that's that's moving forward, engaged and moving. I've got 9 more minutes until my phone call with my friend in America. Okay, go over the creed real quick. 8 objectives: to be always ready to die, to make good and effective use of time, to develop and maintain good and sound life principles, to cultivate good emotional reactions, to perform good actions, to recognize true limits and true opportunities, to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly, deliberately, and carefully. And my pinky objective is to maintain my balance. Now, I'm sorry I went through them quickly. Each and every one of those is is something that I do to make my life useful and worthwhile, so that I'm not, when I come to the end of my life, going to suddenly say, "Damn, what the hell did I do? How much time did I waste?" I don't want to waste any time. I want to make my life a good life. That's why I call it the good life. Okay, for the next 24 hours, beginning now, I have a phone call on WhatsApp with my friend in America in 8 minutes. So I'll do that. I'll transition as soon as I'm done with this. The movers are coming. I think Yumiko is going to take the day off again today. The movers are coming today to to give us a quote on moving the stuff, what little we have from this apartment. And we go, look, I mean, we don't have anything. Yes, it's just that's the kitchen, a few things. That room is empty. We have 2 other rooms. They're all empty. So basically, it's the refrigerator, the washing machine, this sofa, this table, our mattress. That's it. And so we're going to get a quote from 2 movers for that. Then we're going to, I'll take care of that. Although Yumiko probably will want to. Maybe she'll wear a mask, and because one of us needs to take the dogs outside because the dogs will try to kill him. So probably, even though I'm armed with my capabilities, probably Yumiko will do that while I take the dogs outside because I can manage the dogs better. I need to go to Workman to get some boots because now that we're pretty much done with the cleaning of the inside of the house, I want to start work on the outside. Spring is here. It's going to be fun to start work on the outside. And we do have the realtor looking into the property next door to our house. We hope to buy that property or at least lease it. And I do want to go back to the house and do one last big vacuum and clean through the place as well. Emily was going to come here today. She got snowed in. She's down in Kyoto, Osaka area. I think she's in Osaka. Yeah, because she was at Universal Studios Japan yesterday, but she got snowed in or something like that, and her something happened, so she stayed an extra night, and she doesn't have time to visit us, so she'll just zip by on the Shinkansen. Bye, Emily. And so we won't see her today. That's too bad. But that's what happens because snow. I guess snow. She was sending photos of like winter wonderland, wherever the hell she was, and the bus that she needed to get out of where she was got canceled because of snow. That's that. I think I'm done. Let me do 2 comments real quick. Like I said, I have to bolt. I've got 6 minutes. Have a great weekend, Kurt. Oh, Kyle Blaha says, hi, that's great. Thank you very much, Kyle Blaha. Oh boy, my eyes. Act 9, okay, and that's the first time I think I've seen your name. I've got so many new subscribers to the channel, so the new subscribers, welcome. Have a great weekend, thank you. Act 9808 says, when do you have the walls, repainted wallpapers, and new carpet installed? That's gonna come pretty soon. We're gonna do it ourselves. So that's going to be our first DIY activity. The Ghost of Sabotage, a longtime friend of the channel, says, hey, from the UK, hey there. Take it easy when you need it. No, I don't think I will. I know what you're saying, Ghost, but I learned my lesson. Don't take it easy, Kurt, unless I absolutely have to. I don't, it's not my nature to take it easy. Believe in yourself. Robert says, hey, Kurt, the Ghost of Sabotage. And thank you, Robert, for welcoming everybody. I always appreciate that. The Ghost says, you're going to work on your Japanese more after you moved in fully. I work on my Japanese every day. I listen to Japanese radio when I'm in the car. I watch Japanese TV. I watch, for the most part, Japanese Netflix now. I immerse myself. I look up words. I ask ChatGPT to help me. So it's active on the go, working to improve my Japanese. Robert says, nice way to turn into a win-win outcome, Kurt. Thank you, Robert. The Ghost says, you are an independent person. I like to think I am. Oh, hey, Jim. There's Jim. You need some Mully in your life. Who doesn't need Mully in their life? And Robert agrees. The Ghost says, don't let Kurt say, don't let your meatloaf. He might get it mugged up. Don't let your loaf meet. That's true. Mingled. Jim says, Kurt, you should say, don't let your pumper nickel. Robert is laughing. Molly says, you got to sleep on that filthy mattress. No, we've got a nice mattress of our own. The mattress is going, and we haven't figured out that one yet, though. We're having somebody come and take some things, so we're going to get them to take that too. But we haven't arranged for that yet. And the mattress is going, and the bed Yumiko told me that she doesn't want to keep the bed either, so we're going to get a new bed. I would for a price. Michael Littlejohn, that's a name I know from the past. Hi, good morning. Is that Little Feet? Good morning. Am I reading the kanji right? Longtime friend of the channel. Evening from the UK, the ghost. Your act says you are lucky you missed the wildfires in Southern California. It looks like OC got hit pretty hard. Yeah, the fires were certainly terrible. In fact, I'm friends with a fire what do you call it? Fire marshal of one of the major counties there, and he and I were just talking before I started this live. He was telling me one of my jobs. I was a project manager for a fire department, and that fire marshal has gone on to become a county fire marshal. And he and I were just talking before I started about the fire situation. Just absolutely horrible. Fortunately, the people in my world were unscathed. Nobody lost anything in my family, or were even harmed by it. But so many terrible things had happened. Jim says Molly's 8 objectives. I wonder what those are. Andy says, I got excited that you're a lefty like me. I'm not a lefty. Then I realized you're a selfie mode. Oh yeah, there you go. And Believe in Yourself says, saying hi to everybody. Molly's 8 objectives. Beer, 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 beer. I don't think that's it, Andy. I don't think Molly really drinks anymore. All right, everybody, I got to go. 2 more minutes to my phone call. Have a great day, everybody. Blue Tanuki, you too. Be safe, but not too safe. See you later.